discuss about the flexibility of the top on red cedar and German spruce, the two more used materials for the top of a Spanish guitar.
Esto es una tapa de cedro rojo, ¿no?
It's a red cedar
una
top.
media tapa, ¿no? Porque esto se arma en espejo. Sí, esa es la otra parte. Y allá hay una de abeto, pasando una de las.
And then there is the spruce top.
Estos dos materiales son dos placas que tienen básicamente una característica muy similar, porque es el espesor.
Both are similar.
La placa que se usa en un cordófono siempre tiene esta característica que en principio es de madera. Es algo.
So in string instruments, generally it's a wooden top, right? Except for some guitars, experimental guitars that are making now also with carbon fiber, different things. But the Spanish guitar has the top of wood.
Puede ser un banjo o alguna cosa así, que incluso el banjo es una membrana, ¿no?
O alguna guitarra experimental.
O sintética con algún material, pero habitualmente de madera, y siempre se habla, quizás no sé si vale la pena colgarnos con eso porque ya está medio remanido el tema, del corte radial y todo eso, ¿no? Exacto. De la tapa. Exacto. Entonces tienen esa estructura. Teniendo en cuenta que la vamos a usar con la veta parada, cada tapa tiene su característica de flexión, cada tipo de botánico de material, ¿no?
So each species of wood has different flexibility range, right?
El abeto particularmente siempre a mismo recorte, a mismo espesor, mismo tamaño, es un poquito más pesado que el cedro rojo.
So the spruce has more weight than the red cedar.
Son las dos maderas más habituales, hay muchas más, pero si querés sintetizamos.
Sí, visera o tuja aplicata son las universalmente utilizadas para hacer cualquier tapa.
Hay alarse por esta parte.
Hay alarse, pero no se puede cortar. Sí, así que vamos a hacer.
Talking about an Argentinian wood, which is now forbidden to cut.
En este caso, la tapa de abeto y la tapa de cedro tienen distintas características para flexionar y de dureza, de
peso.
densidad, de peso.
Exacto.
Ahora, dentro del mismo cedro y dentro del mismo abeto también tenés esas diferencias.
So here he said something important that hints to the point that you cannot plan how a guitar will sound before making it. It's not possible. It's like having a son and and you cannot make sure if he will be a good person or a bad guy or bad mood or cheerful. You cannot know. Really, because this is unpredictability aspect of making a guitar. So when a guitar before it's born, and this is a nonsense that many people said, I go to the luthier and then I told him make me it with many basses, with so much trebles like this and basses like that, and then it never happens. So they cheat themselves, of course, that yeah, it came right, but this is not truth. I have never seen one prediction of this coming right, because guitar is unpredictable. And this old luthier also is saying one thing which is true, that inside the very same species of either spruce or red cedar, West shinglewood, also called, or tuya applicata, like they're calling the botanic name, or picea. Picea is the name for the botanic name for the spruce, apparently in their slang. And now the thing is that you cannot make two guitars the same, nor you can plan how a guitar will come. It's not possible, because in the process of making it, it may happen just the opposite. In fact, luthiers themselves, the greatest luthiers of all times, and Stradivarius himself said it, this thing, that it's unpredictable. You don't know how it will come. So if you got it right, then you won the lottery. Otherwise, just keep buying tickets, of lottery tickets, because it's not, you cannot predict it, because of all these variables. And the bridge has to do with that as well, because of course if the top is by nature harder, then it could be a balance that with a material on the bridge, with raw material on the bridge, which has more weight. Like for instance, well, in AG, by the way, this is the only guitar making people in the world which has experiment with different raw materials. Have in mind this thing, but even for those who are darker woods or harder ones like Brazilian boxwood or cocobolo rosewood or tulip wood, this is a tulip wood actually, Brazilian tulip wood one. This is also a balance. In this case, this is a different guitar because it was made with other intention, but this has a spruce top and so hard top and hard bridge. There have been many experiments in AG this way, very successful ones, and then we will talk about the conclusions also later on. So let's continue. This thing here.
Entonces vos de repente agarras una tapa de abeto que flexibiliza de una manera y otra tapa de abeto inclusive
que es mucho más rígida.
Puede ser mucho más rígida o no, mucho más blanda.
Claro.
Entonces hay tres maneras de controlar la flexibilidad.
He said there is three ways to check the flexibility. Longitudinal stiffness, flexibility there,
La transversal,
and transversal,
y después la torsión.
and this twisting thing, twisting it both opposite
Con
ways
eso, con los
with both
dedos
hands.
y con el tiempo lográs tener un conocimiento de la tapa que vas a emplear y en base a eso manejás también los espesores, porque los espesores no es que se
So he's
manejan.
talking about the thickness of the wood now. He said that he first checked this flexibility, and then based on that he decides about the flexibility of the thickness of the top itself. So in this regard, also because guitars, then there is also discussion that if the top should be tuned or not. And here I want to show you this method to decide where to send and take off material from the top, deciding it with frequencies and salt, which is similar to the experiment of Ernest Schladner that we talked before, the German physician. He discovered these things about the speed of sound, etc. In the video one is there, if you have not seen it, but this is the thing. We have about tuning of the top with salt.
It's called salt.
See, they put the salt there, and then whatever it accumulates in a certain way, then they have to sand there. Sand that spot with a certain frequency, resonator, right?
This is the way to determine exactly the resonance frequency of the top of the guitar.
You see?
И ако се налагат корекции на дебелини по акустичните зони, and sometimes maybe the luthier must make some corrections of the thickness of the top.
The thickness. It's a very intelligent thing, this.
This is the method of visualization, how to see on the places where you have to work. Тези неща се правят както на капака, така и на дъното. These things are made on the top of the guitar and also the back of the guitar.
You see, it sparks the salt there, and then at certain frequency it does not react. Right?
There are some other not so strong resonance frequency that we see in the moment. С този метод ние можем да провокираме максимално крайния резултат. This is the method which helps us to provoke the final result. Я техника пак е да се види говорителя отдолу.
This is just a speaker with the frequency there.
Speaker from the
Then now if they change the frequency, the tone, namely A440 or whatever, G sharp or B flat. To sand more wood whenever is needed with this method. Yes, tuning of the top is such an issue. This is very high knowledge about it. Watch the description of this video. Okay, so then let's continue.
Con un calibre son todas las tapas iguales.
Exacto.
La tapa vos la podés variar en base a la flexibilización que tiene, la flexibilidad.
So as you see, his method is just very primitive one, and therefore here we have to conclude that it's probably not a good idea to do just with the fingers and just testing like this, but other methods there may be more accurate. Now let's continue. So here comes a very important point about the flexibility of the top and how is decided the thickness, the material that it will have. The bridge will affect, of course, if the bridge is of a hard material or density or weight, all these factors, how this modifies the sound.
está este asunto, ¿no? Lo crucial que es el espesor de la placa, del material que vamos a usar en relación a la especie botánica que estamos usando, y después cómo la dotamos de una rigidez un poquito mayor para que soporte la tensión de la cuerda y que no se deforme tanto.
So he's saying that according to the botanic characteristics of the wood used in the top, either red cedar or spruce, and the thickness it has, how it will be determined, the thicknesses, so that the top will keep vibrating and transmit well the vibration without getting deformed, right? Because this is another thing that here I think that was talked about in the video number 1, which is this factor, that if there are deformity here, so the top may go totally wrong. If it sinks here, it will produce problems in tuning because the bridge is coming to this way, and it will also at the same time it has to have some flexibility. But in this case, this is of course a defect. And most of the guitars, if you buy a new guitar and then probably after 3 or 4 months it starts like this, and after a year forget it, will have permanent damage of this thing, instead of having a very clear point of relationship between the string, the alignment of the top and the fretboard, which in fact is the real concept of action. And therefore, having said so, let's just talk about this a bit so that we can exemplify what we are meaning exactly and what is action. This is one topic which have been so much misunderstood, and it's important to clear up this.
So here we have the black line is the string, the red line is the fretboard, and this blue line is the top. It's the line of the top. So this is the proper settlement. Here, this is the balance here that has string, the fretboard, follow a line, and also is aligned with the top settlement. And therefore, this is the wrong thing. What generally happens is that the string goes here, and then the red line, which represents the fretboard, look how on the 12th fret it goes so high here, the action. This is the right understanding of action, is not to count just from the 12th fret to the string, right? Because here we can say, for example, from here to here, yeah, that's one thing, but
very superficial measurement.
Need to check that the fretboard should be aligned with the string, right?
And with the top.
With the top, how this top is being aligned here. You have this one measurement, which has to correspond
to the fretboard.
With the fretboard and with the
line that the strings draw.
String all the way. Of course, here there would be a little bit more distance than, let's say, on the 5th fret or 7th fret, but not much difference, because it should follow one line, one total line. This thing here, right, this way, and then therefore it looks like this. The top aligned with the fretboard.
It's not sinking anything, right?
String. Otherwise, what is the wrong thing is generally
this is that's made already from day one wrong.
The string goes like this, and look, the fretboard. The fretboard is on the line, and then now we have the top this way or bent up here, crazy thing. So this is not balanced, and therefore if you just count about 12th fret distance from the 12th fret to the 6th string, that's just a very primitive way to count the action. This is the wrong way to consider. Action is more than just the distance between the 12th fret and the 6th string. Action means also that it's balanced here. The settlement of the top corresponds to that of the fretboard and that of the string. And then we have the perfect way to understand this concept.
Action is very interesting, and this is related.
Perfectly balanced.
It's related to the flexibility of the wood and to the very setting with which the guitar is made, obviously, right?
It's just a mistake because this one is going here like this, across the top. Then the fretboard like this, and then the string other way around. So this one is the right one.
Okay, so that is one thing. Now let's continue with this discussion.
Que es el abanico, ¿no? Y acá estamos en nuestro tema central.
Porque yo creo que nos toma la atención completamente el tema de la tapa porque tiene una doble, tiene un doble efecto en nosotros cuando estamos trabajando.
Now Ricardo talked about the main guy that here seated at the right. He talked about the fans, and then now this guy was saying something about the top, which has a double edge. So yeah, it cuts both ways. One is that it resonates, and the other is that, let's see.
Uno que es el facilitador, amplifica la cuerda.
It amplifies the strings.
El gran obstáculo insoslayable.
And then the obstacle that the luthiers have is that it's wood. Because it's wood, they are all different.
La gente también, yo
every wood is different.
Esto, yo pensaba madera, madera es madera. Son todas iguales.
Wood is not wood. Every piece is different.
Ahora más duras, más blandas. Son un universo animal, de una especie a otra.
Each one is a whole universe of difference between one piece of wood and another piece of wood, even of the same tree. Right?
Te vas dando cuenta de las diferencias que puede tener madera, pero después resulta que no están así.
La diferencia de rigidez longitudinal, de
la tapa está bien, te proporciona la amplificación a la cuerda, pero hay otro problema, que el puente está pegado a la tapa. Y también,
so now it comes the essential point that Losau pointed out. The bridge, it is glued to the top. So this is also a fan inside. You know what is fans? These fans are these pieces of wood which go this way, and there are different designs and different orders, passwords for orders to glue it, because if I start gluing the bases, it's not the same. So first one, which is not just to put the sticks there, but it has to be first number, say passwords, which I don't know, of course, because this is high secret sticks, will be maybe 1, 3, 5, 6. It's like a password combination of 6 fans and or 5 in the Marcelo Barbero plus the underbridge. If it has the underbridge, it's a 6 password, 6 digits combination password. If it is a Santos Hernandez, then it has 7 combination password. If it is a Fleta, it has 9, and if it is a Simplicio, it has 8, like in this case, right? So it's a whole mystical thing, actually, and therefore this is very relevant. But the bridge is there, and therefore the bridge will. This bridge is also like a fan, external fan. So this he's pointing out is that the guitar is holding through the bridge is holding 40 kilos, 40 kg of weight. That is what these strings pull, 40 kg. And in the case of electric guitar, of metal string guitars, like acoustic metal string guitars, I think it's 80, something like that.
40 kilos aproximados que tira todo el encordado completo, entonces tiene también un carácter estructural esa misma placa, sumado a ese abanico que lo refuerza. Y ahí está el tema.
El puente es parte de la rigidez de la tapa, como son las espinetas, como son las barras armónicas.
Si mostrás un puente de una guitarra española, lo podés pensar como una barra externa en vez de una barra interna, y formaría parte del concepto del abanico interno.
This is a very smart remark that Losau made now. It's true that the bridge is actually a fan also. It's an external fan because it's all part of the whole structure of the guitar. Now here we have one problem, Houston, which is the problem that if you go to type in Google or in Bing or in any search, if you search what it is, a classic guitar bridge, then we will see wait a second, something like this, right? This is the classical guitar bridge. If you just Google the classical guitar bridge and go to images, and then this will come, right? Which is the traditional bridge with 6 walls, which has both wings same, very thick ones, most of the time varnished, and a dull, obsolete bone, this white bone, which is one of the really obsolete things which I will never use in my life, thanks to AG that created the marvelous thing with this carbon fiber, the saddle, right hand saddle, carbon fiber saddle. Is the only guitar in the world which has this, the only guitar of nylon strings, I mean. And therefore what the classical guitars have only bone, this bone, which is, this is also part of the bridge, but that we will discuss later. This is ultra important as well. But let's talk about the structure of the bridge itself. So the structure of the bridge itself is that this is a classical guitar bridge. You can Google the classical guitar bridge, go to image, and then you see this thing. So this is, what is the characteristic? Is that this a rosewood, or sometimes even ebony, but let's say rosewood material, which is very dark sound and very weighty and very stiff. So they don't consider, they never thought why it has to be in the world with both wings same. If this part, this wing belongs to the treble side and this wing belongs to the bass side, why it has to be of the same thickness? This both, this and this. This, hello, doesn't make sense. So then therefore this is an obsolete concept. But well, wait a moment. Some people who actually have brain in the classical guitar world have also tried to experiment with different, other than these things. They created bridges like, well, for example, here we have to mention the attempt to not notice that the problem is the bone and then try to put it inside the bridge instead of going this external. Like here you can see that the bridge is a piece that you can move out, in and out like this, through this channel here. But in this case it is inside the wood. That also does not work. But well, then we will talk about the fact of the 12 walls, or even some people to put 9, 18, or 6 walls only, but this is another thing. Now, people who have brain, as I was saying before, and here I want you to see this picture because, of course, here we have 2 factors. One, this is a string which comes directly from the problems of this bridge are as follows. It is very hard. It has no distinction between bass and treble because hence both wings are same, as opposed to a bridge in AG which has different, both wings are different. Like if you see here, you can appreciate that the bass wing is shorter and thicker, and this is beautiful Pau Amarelo bridge, and the treble side is thinner and larger, so both wings are different, you see. And this is an extra flat thing designed especially for modern flamenco guitars with the carbon fiber thing. So also it's worth to notice that the problem of the raw material, and never tried anyone to do a different one except for AG in Spain. Nobody tried it. This is Brazilian mahogany, right? This other one, this is a cocobolo rosewood thing. This is cocos wood. This is a weightier material. It has some weight. This is similar to rosewood. And also, of course, those carbon fiber saddles, which many people try to just put that in the guitar. It doesn't work because this should be, actually, after all these tests, it was, well, at least my opinion, that except for some very special cases or specific guitars with some specific characteristics, the carbon fiber saddle works much better in softer material, raw material for the bridge, and this is not the case with this one. Well, but this is an excellent guitar. That's actually the centennial, the 80 years anniversary guitar of Barbero, owned by Mr. Walter Stella, my friend also. And then, well, here we have the Pau Amarelo. So look at all these different woods used, which this is the best. now became standard in AG, and in fact, in my opinion, this is the very best. There is a reason why Stradivarius use maple. This is Cremona maple saddle, which is very soft and very light and transmits great. And this in here, the carbon fiber saddle really works amazingly. You see, this is another maple, also maple bridge. This here. So we have a maple one, then this is a tulip wood one, which is also in between, hard and soft. Another kind of bridge. Then Aja bridge. And then this is the Brazilian boxwood. That's another great wood with a, in this case, with a top of Norway spruce. So therefore, the stiffness or the flexibility of the top calculated with the raw material and design of the bridge, plus the saddle, and the fact that the strings go directly into, with this option of 12 walls, the strings go directly, the vibration from here, rest in the saddle, and then it goes directly to the bridge and makes it vibrate, just as we saw in this picture with this is a metal string guitar, and this has this very smart thing to move these ones to correct tuning issues. Well, this is some of the very experimental things which have been made in America, I guess. We are not talking about brands. That's another thing we want to clear up, because some people confuse this. This is not about brands, it's about knowledge of guitar making. So then therefore, here we can see all these materials: Brazilian boxwood, then there is dark cherry, clear cherry, pau amarelo, pink cherry, this is Brazilian nashberry, right? Aja, another wood. The raw materials, and Cremona maple. This is my favorite one. This is fantastic. It works with every top. Look at this. See how many different materials have been experimenting on. So this is the only company in the world which has tested actually bridge and not taken for granted that it has to be the dull bridges of rosewood that in classical guitar are there, so as the only option. Why this has to be the only option? This is ugly, it sounds bad, and it's obsolete totally, and it cuts the vibration here. This is one of the problems. We are talking about the problems of the traditional, of every guitar's bridge, every guitar which is of the same, what they don't know even is the same, they haven't even noticed. Guys, why you didn't try another material on the bridge which is not the same? Why it has to be rosewood always? So AG did that, and therefore these people is Stradivarius actually, not Torres. So let it have clear that this, by facts, it has been proved how this research was leading to the point which we are now studying and trying to also record with that. So at the description of this video you will see I will post some of the videos I've recorded only using the Simplicio guitars with this kind of bridge. So therefore, here we said that this point is very important because the string, it goes directly to the bridge, and then therefore it doesn't cut the vibration, as opposed to the so-called traditional thing that when you have only 6 walls, right, like in this case, you see that here the string cuts the vibration because you have to do this turn, and then here this thing affects also, of course, the sound and the pulsation. It will become softer, the string is not purely direct there, it has a terrible, obsolete white bone, animal bone, or even plastic or some materials there, and this is the same of the same with 2 wings, same, very weighty, and it sounds very bad. Now when you Google there classical guitar bridge, this comes, and when you Google flamenco guitar bridge, then it comes the same, like the classical ones. Tell me, what is the difference? Look at this. This is a flamenco guitar bridge. So what is the difference? What is the difference with the classical one? Look at this. Look at this. Oh my god, this is a horrible big brand. Big name brand, so careful. Same material, same design, same dull bone, same equal wings, same even mistakes on the calculation of the bridge distances, but leave this apart. Let's just consider the disadvantages of the design and the obsolete nature of having this flat thing here, same basis than trebles. This is just a lack of intelligence, obviously. And continuing with the rosewood, because that is when you Google flamenco guitar bridge, then it comes this. It comes only the same like the classical guitar bridge. So there is no, actually, until AG came to the picture, one after the other, the so-called flamenco guitar bridge are the same like the classical guitar bridge. It's the same material, made of rosewood all, have the same design, same wings, same thick wings, flat, either basses or trebles, and the same dull bone as a transmitter. So some also now copied from the classical guitar. Excellent guys who do our research actually and change things and include 12 walls, but that doesn't change anything because still the dullness of this is so much hardwood. It's very hard and very stiff. The rosewood. Rosewood is not good for flamenco. Of course, to get to change these things, it takes to have much courage, because the tradition, of course, will attack vehemently as it's attacking all the time. We don't care, but this is the so-called flamenco bridge. What is this flamenco bridge about? It's the same like the classic one. Look, just because what? It's a cypress and then it is a black shape. So, you see, one has to be really full to believe these things. And these ones have other problem, that when you try to lower the so-called action, which you didn't even know what action is, I learned this from Paco actually, this equilibrium between the top and the line that the strings draw and the fretboard, then they artificially lowered the ugly animal bone, this one, and then what happens, this sometimes the string touches here the wood, so it's just terrible. Well, this is my opinion again. These are the so-called flamenco guitar bridge, and this here is how it was reinvented, because this has two different wings, a larger and thinner, shorter and thicker, with a carbon fiber. This is really designed for playability and for the purpose of getting the perfect equilibrium between every top, either rosewood or either spruce or red cedar top. Look at this bridge. Perfectly measured also. This is a left-hand bridge. This is the beautiful guitar Marcelo Barbero, owned by our friend Tomás Eliseo, which is a great also fan and friend of mine, friend of AG as well. And for instance, this guitar, this is because that's another thing, that AG makes guitars for left-handed players. Well, this guy is a left-handed player. His guitar has also the double back, and it has this bridge, which is an art thing. As you see, this is a bridge, for left-handed bridge, which all left, just like the scissors, you know, they will use different things. So they deserve it. Regards to Thomas if he's watching this. Okay, then that's the bridge. Maple was determined to be the best material, and there's a reason why Stradivarius made his violins with that. Look at this. This is really reinventing a flamenco guitar bridge, right? This is a tulip wood one. This weighs more. This is between maple or pau amarelo and rosewood, and the stiffness, and this is the best, the maple or bird's eye maple. While these ugly things here, this is the traditional same of the same of the same of what they don't know is the same. This is the so-called flamenco bridge. Okay, if you want to believe that, I have no problem at all. But this is really the same like the classical guitar bridge. So this is how this thing is. Now, then therefore, having said that, we can come back to our search of classical guitar bridge, and then you find this again, which is the same like the flamenco guitar bridge, so-called. Now, some people who actually have brain in the classical guitar world have tried to do different experiments and get to different things, of which, well, this also, by the way, careful, this doesn't work. To avoid the problem of not coming the strings directly, some people try to put some things here, either wood or bone, even will be even worse, which may weighter this part, and of course it disturbs the equilibrium and the weight of the whole thing, so that your string can come directly from the bridge, you see? Here you can see. So putting this thing here, this is just to save face. How you do it? It's like putting the dust or the dirty things under the carpet instead of really cleaning the thing. So this is not a solution, of course. And then they have to put here a piece of pickguard in the most sensitive part of the guitar, which is this, which will, of course, will alter and mess up the tuning, the tuning of the top, and the actual weight vibrates. This is a very sophisticated point of view, and of course this is a gross thing. But well, anyway, this is just my opinion. I don't like these things. I tried them, of course, in 35 years of playing. I tried everything, but this does not work. And again, the same dullness here, and the same raw material, and the same design of the wings. So we are in the same problem here, just with these things here. I wanted to point that out because people ask sometimes these things. Better we clear it up. So this is very intelligent design, actually. In fact, from a belonging to a guitar, metal string guitar, because now there is research about differentiating basses and treble, right? Well, just like that. And by the way, this thing of having the bone inside instead of that we said already, is not working. So this is the so-called traditional classical guitar bridge. And this here is the same also, but now coming directly. This has 12 volts and therefore can be used from it can go directly the vibration to the bridge, but the transmitter between the string and the wood is bone. So that's another problem. Although this idea of Mr. Gilbert, of the design, I mean, of these cavities here inside, because this is a very good idea, because some people who have brain started to think that maybe there is a problem with the dull thing there of the bridge, and then experimenting over this kind of designs. This is a very interesting thing. Well, you know, in the metal string guitars, they put this with the pins, so we cannot do this, and therefore the structure of our bridge is different. This is also like the Gilbert idea, this thing, you see. So this has 12 volts, and now this is reduced the problem of the weight of the so-called, but the material still is rosewood. See, this is the ways that the classic guitar makers have tried to solve this dilemma, because it is a big issue, this thing. And of course, other thing, again, bone. So nobody tried to say why we have to use the same material in the bridge and why we are using the same sound, except for AG in Spain. They did that, and therefore I love them for this reason. So here, this is again the Gilbert design, a very interesting thing. Because why? Because now they are both same, this and this same. So this is a problem, because this is the bass side, hello, and this is the treble side, hello. So that's what I have to say about this. Is my opinion only, of course. Now, then therefore, this thing is so obsolete and so much counterproductive to the vibration of the. That's why they said, yeah, out of 300 million guitars, 2 or 3 come good. Yeah, that's why, man, because it sucks the design. The design is just lousy. The very basic thing, the raw materials you're using are wrong. the bone transmitter is wrong. Of course, let apart the measurements, the accuracy on the measurements here that we explain in the video one for those who are interested. This is a series of videos. There I put my disclaimer and everything because you should be better listening video one first, which is kind of a commentary 1 hour long. So, then this is the traditional bridge, and these are also traditional bridges. These people have tried to also change the dilemma by dividing the bridge in 2 parts. So this is an intelligent experiment. I like these things because are out of the box. What I don't like is that the bridge has to be like this. No, it does not have to be like this. I don't play that anymore. I did for 20 years, and when there was no, when AG was not there, there was no option. You had to do it, and I still believe it's good. It's okay. I also commit that mistake and pass through that hellish situation. Not anymore. But fortunately, other people who has brain try to fix the problem by different things. This is one. Of course, here there is also the bone thing. But this is an interesting idea. It separates. Actually, it becomes 2 bridges. So because this is a bridge series video, so here we get knowledge about the. If you understand what is the bridge on a guitar, you understand everything about the tone, about your tone, and about how you will sound. So this is another interesting thing, very interesting actually, because here now they try to use this rosewood, and then they observe that in fact this is a problem, that the bridge is too weighty. The traditional bridge, it has this, why it has to have, why rosewood only, and why it has to have 2 wings same. So then these guys questioned that and then did it actually empty below the strings, as you can see here. Right? This is very intelligent thing. And of course, other thing here we will observe is that, well, there are some differences, but they put the the weightier side of this. They differentiate. This is one good thing. Differentiate between basses and trebles, but the treble side, I haven't played that guitar. I'm just saying by what I look on the picture that I am observing that this block has more weight. So in my opinion, for what I have seen in the last 400 guitars that you can see in this channel with 2,300 public videos, I tried hundreds of guitars of every brand, and in this channel alone, which I started around 8 or 9 years ago, I have played like 400 or 500 AG guitars, so I have some experience in this, and therefore, based on that, I can say that this bridge, the problem for me with this thing will be, one is that this thing here, we cannot use the double wall idea, and then we have to cut the vibration, and at this point this should be here in the bass side, and this should be the treble side, in my opinion. Right? This is just by watching, but it's great idea. I will say only great, because now of course they put wood instead of the dull bone, obsolete bone. So this is great because at least we are searching something new. Otherwise, we will die of boredom here with the same thing. What is this? To me, it's just laughable. So therefore, I repeat the so-called statement that, well, we have to respect tradition. Translation: I am so ignorant and so afraid of new ideas that I have to say that. So you have to respect tradition. Do it. You do it. I don't do it. I challenge tradition, because if tradition makes me limited and contracts my playing, I don't want tradition. I'm very sorry. So if you agree with me, good. If not, I don't have any problem. But this is the fact, and these people is great because they are searching something different. Look at this Obsolete from Canada, a great luthier. This guy is very cultured guy, and he's the only one who tried some ideas of Simplicio. Actually, if you observe this guitar, has the Simplicio thing here. It's a classical guitar with the ebony fretboard, which we don't use anymore. That's another topic. We'll have to do a fretboard series here, but because the ebony fretboard is very obsolete, by the way. Well, we are talking about bridge now, and here this is a fantastic thing. Now he was trying to see if maybe stringing it up and tightening the strings from inside the top, some modification of the sound will be there, and then also created this kind of bridge which has very little material, as you see, and two different levels of the thing. Of course, this again with bone, but it's a great experiment indeed. This is great experiment. These people has brain and has really intention to improve things, but these luthiers, no thank you, no thanks, I don't want that. Well, this is my point of view, right? So these guys created different things. Now look at this. This is another interesting thing, which consists on also having a straight disc, but now making like a violin thing on a nylon string guitar. Eh? Of course, this bridge is just a copy from the violin, but it's a fixed part here on the guitar. You can see very interesting things. I like it because it's out of the box. This is also out of the box. Here the experiment was in just changing totally the design of the bridge, and let's say these guys did have a regard for the distinction between basses, having this point here, and trebles, being treble, you see, of different width. So, and then, well, it has also the bone. Well, anyway, there is, you know, I am totally into this because there is a reason why this is the best bridge. There is a reason. That reason is that it has the exact proportions, design, exact saddle, exact measurement, and exact regard of the considering the stiffness or otherwise of the materials of the top combined with the transmitter, with the saddle, which is the transmitter, and the sides of the wing, which make it very good for percussive things like what we do with this thing. It has a tone. Like this one is tuned. This top, this guitar is tuned on B flat. You see? So that's why, and this has that bridge there. So this is my experience only, guys, what I'm saying here, and please just understand that this thing is obsolete. It's totally obsolete. Okay, so these guys noticed that, and then create different options, which offer some solution about the thing. No? Okay, then now we were talking about also the action and the deformity that the top may suffer. Look at this bridge coming on. This is 120% of the Spanish guitars out there have this problem. So watch that in the video one. There is also information about this, and I will post also something about how to notice if it's bent, because that's another problem with the so-called traditional fellows, that they don't know also what a fretboard is and what a setting is properly, and then therefore many times guitars are bent, mostly the so-called flamenco guitars, which this is the classical guitar bridge, and this is the flamenco guitar bridge, which is the same. You have to be really having mentally challenged to believe that this thing is a flamenco bridge. This is a classical guitar bridge, the same. It's exactly the same. The only difference is that they put their classical and the other flamenco. So think about it. This is another interesting thing also. Okay, so having said so, now we explained all these effects of the string, how the string cuts here when it has only 6, how it's not a solution to put the other sticks here, and the fact that the disadvantages because of the raw material, it disturbs the proper or optimized vibration of the top, which these guys try to solution this way, creating new ideas which are really worth of praise, because even if you don't succeed trying something, but if you try something different, then there is a merit on that. Right? At least to me, this is the way. So this is what, because not everyone has this genius like AG had to combine these things like this. This is just unique pieces, fantastic bridges. Okay, so then let's continue with the discussion from Ricardo Lozao.
Completa de alguna manera.
So they were saying that one of the fans, external fans, because of the structural composition, it is the bridge. So this is here.
Barra pseudoespineta suplementaria exterior.
Claro, exacto. Tiene dos funciones, o sea, el transmitir, la cuerda transmite al hueso, el hueso transmite al puente, el puente pone vibración a la tapa, pero también es una barra transversal.
Y también genera deformaciones, porque si uno ve muchas veces las guitarras, en este sentido, acá se suelen chupar un poquitito o estar media plana y acá se suena abovedar, y eso tiene que ver con la tracción que hacen las cuerdas y la deformidad que genera el
So the same thing he's talking about this aspect. This aspect here, that this is swelling and this here is sinking inside, and to that point, because, well, of course, action also, you remember what action is? Equilibrium between the setting of the top, the line that the string draws, and the fretboard. But if this is too high also, because in this case it's also, of course, the top got some deformity, this is fresh wood, bad making, bad design, bad setting combined with zero brain, makes this happen, and then the poor guy there will have a sinking guitar, and then you can, here, from here to here, you have, as in Spain they say, 5 minutes in car, from the string to the top. And to get an idea about this, if you are in US or in Canada, then you can measure this way. Let's talk about this small thing.
We will measure this bridge, which is so high, with coins, with regular quarter coins.
This one.
Coins of 25 cents. Okay. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh my God.
7 coins, and that's all. 7 coins. Almost one we can fit. No, almost no. We can fit one more. Check it.
Mamma mia. That is
and it's not pulling or anything. Look, it's still moving.
8 quarters
so
high. And that is not synced yet because it's it was pretty new. That is in this point. So forget about this point.
How many are there?
7.
No.
It's 8.
It's 8.
It's 8.
$2. $2.
$2 guitar and $2.
$2
guitar
worth.
$500, but it's still a garbage. Okay, now let's see. Let's see. On this Marcelo Barbero 1946, we can fit only
different models have different heights, but as a general guideline, look at
2
this.
and 3, and that's all.
So of course it is so different. This was 10 years ago or more, because here we have one of the old saddles that was before. This thing was before the carbon fiber came in AG. Look at this. And before the change of raw materials on the bridge came. The design was changing here and this. So very interesting thing. This is a very old video.
If I put one more, look.
It will pull up this string. So it's 3 quarters also.
This is the height of the proper bridge.
Okay, now that was so old, but let's check. This is 2011. You see here. 2011, this one. Okay, how about now? Yeah, here it is. 2011. So 8 years ago. Yeah, things evolved. Now look at this here. If you're in Europe, you can, until as far as the euro will be available, let's measure those with the euro coins as well. For those this height here, the measurements from the string to the top, close to the rosette, we will do this with quarters. 1 quarter, 2 quarters, 3 quarters, and 4 quarters. That's so a different model, right? This 4. Small variations may be there from model to model, that doesn't matter. Precisely. But this is in this point here. In the point of syncing we were talking about here. This point. This point. So it's relevant. That is also relevant to the bridge. Alright, let's see. It's how it works. So of course not in all models, but this model has also a very low distance here, which is advisable to have. And this is one idea, right? This with the quarters, 4 quarters fit here to measure that. Now, then of course, if this is very high, what will happen is that finger calls in the thumb, and I'm playing the thing, the thumb may go in, right? Alright, let me see. So if I found faster enough these things about the Akistan, this is the euro thing. That is with the quarters. And we will do this. Moment we had it also with euros, this, but it was also 3 probably. This is here. This is with the 1 euro coins. We do it with euro, so that these currencies have some use at least for this thing. So here with euro coins, this we put this close to the rosette. 1, 2. And 3. And the highest point will fit 3. So exactly, you see how such a great setting this guitar has, that in this point can have just 3 euro coins. Amazing. 3 1 euro coins. You see here. Okay, that was already 4 years ago. 3 or 4. Ahora, now let's continue.
Esa deformación, digamos, se puede definir que hay 2 tipos de deformaciones, la deformación plástica y la deformación elástica. Una deformación plástica es la que queda para siempre, digamos. Si nosotros la sometemos a una determinada tensión muy grande, que generamos un hundimiento enorme, que después la liberamos y queda hundido, eso es una deformación plástica. ¿Sí? Entonces,
so he's talking about two kinds of this sinking thing, the deformity of the top. One is elastic and the other is permanent. So if the guitar is like this all the time, then of course any top, even with the best setting, when it is pulled, it has to have some of this, but not excessive. And also it's a flexible thing that comes, because remember we were talking about what the flexibility of the top matters as far as the raw materials is concerned, as far as the thickness is concerned, that this guy is doing it with salt, tuning of the top, etc., and reducing, taking away material with the salt and the frequency with the speaker, etc. And then also calculating the braces inside and the bridge as the nodal point of, as the central point, the nodal point of equilibrium, being an external fan or abanico. So then he's saying that when this is permanent or when it is flexible, and it's just how it works when one is playing, or when the strings are there, this 40 kg pulling, some of this is happening also in very small amount, maybe quantum amount.
Deformación elástica de alguna manera
se relaja, se vuelve a relajar y vuelve a la misma. De tensión y de relajación. Exacto. Se trata de.
So it comes back. He's saying that it comes back to normal, right? It doesn't remain like this. But if the guitar is like this all the time, this is here we have a problem, Houston.
Uno hace un instrumento que tenga deformaciones en tapa, y es también válido para el resto de la guitarra, el mango incluido, una deformación elástica. ¿Sí?
So here he said one very intelligent thing, which is that every guitar will have some deformity there, which is elastic deformity, not permanent, and it's not because it was badly designed, but because this is the way that this works in physics, really. And if it is a great instrument, even more, because it will have this bending back and forth and come back to the point of exact righteousness and the exact equilibrium, which is optimal equilibrium for the guitar to function, so that it works, this sound thing. This is all the sound factor of the instrument. It's a very important thing to understand, because if you play a lousy guitar, you will never develop good sound, no matter how many hours you practice. How would you play? So the instrument is also 50% or more of what we are aspiring to achieve. So he's saying that every guitar, any guitar which is first class, will also have some deformity there, but it will be an elastic one, so it's not a permanent damage like this thing happening.
También válido para el resto de la guitarra, el mango incluido, una deformación elástica, ¿sí? Que tenga esa posibilidad de movimiento. Y una cosa importante, esto, siempre las maderas en el sentido de la veta son mucho más, esta tensión que mostraba Raúl es muchísimo más rígida que esta tensión transversal. Ahora, es importante, el abeto...
He's saying that because the wood is going, the direction of the veins of the wood are going in this direction, this is much harder than in the other way, but the guitar is done with the wood this way. So,
más, vuelvo a los ejemplos del abeto y cedro por ser las maderas más usuales. El abeto es mucho más rígido y más pesado en general que el cedro.
The German spruce or the spruce in general, European spruce or any spruce, it weighs more than the red cedar.
Y la relación que tiene esta rigidez en el abeto con respecto a la transversal es bastante dispar.
The relationship of the stiffness it has this way or this way in the wood is very much unequal. There is a gap in the spruce. This is true also. Careful, this is very important thing.
O sea, más allá de cada pieza de madera a una misma pieza de madera, la rigidez longitudinal en este sentido siempre es mucho más dura que la transversal.
Eso está comprobado.
Longitudinal stiffness and transversal stiffness is very much of a gap in the spruce tops.
Todas las piezas tenés mayor rigidez longitudinal, menor rigidez transversal.
Bien. En el cedro pasa lo mismo, pero la diferencia entre las dos rigideces es menor. Por eso algunos luthieres sostienen que el cedro es mucho más homogéneo a la hora.
So in the red cedar is much more homogeneous, and there is a gap also there, but much less of a gap. So it has much more equilibrium in that sense, and it's more elastic. The one interesting thing to note here is that actually when this red cedar started for making guitars, well, it started by mistake. I think it was Ramirez III who bought some wood and they sent the wrong package with that, and then he said, well, anyway, let's try to use it, and then he used this red cedar on the top of a guitar, and then it became usable for the thing, so it worked well, and then they discovered that. That's how. Because in this Ramirez store, you know, before, not now, but I'm talking 100 years ago almost, there were, Santos Hernandez was also an official luthier there, and Barbero also. So every great luthier in the line of Torres had some connection either with Ramirez Galarreta Planel, with the old Manuel Ramirez, last century, 1800, or with this Ramirez first, second, and third. Then after that, I don't want to say anything because it will be not very convenient. So this is here. And now what he's saying anyway is that the red cedar top, which starts at its 90%, maybe there is modification of the sound, but it will more or less stay how it is very much elastic and is softer and more homogeneous. Hence the transversal and longitudinal stiffness of the wood is more harmonious than in the spruce. So especially, in other words, translation, if a bad luthier tries, which may be famous or not, so all these big brands are also bad, in my opinion. If they try to make a guitar with the spruce, there is 150% of possibilities that they screw the process and it comes something bad. Why? Because there is this gap that Losau is talking about between the longitudinal and transversal stiffness of the material itself, the spruce in this case. It has to be compensated. And how? How it has to be compensated? If this guy doesn't know how to drill 6 damn walls straight in a bridge, watch the video number 1 and then you will see what I'm talking about. So then therefore, here there is a point that is more friendly, the red cedar top.
Porque, y también eso
es mayor rigidez longitudinal, menor rigidez transversal.
Bien. En el cedro pasa lo mismo, pero la diferencia entre las dos rigideces es menor. Por eso algunos luthieres sostenían que el cedro es mucho más homogéneo a la hora de vibrar. Porque, y también eso lo pueden escuchar los guitarristas, lo pueden sentir con las manos, que cuando agarran una guitarra de cedro rojo a veces lo perciben como más flexible en lo que hace la cuerda, porque simplemente lo pone, tiene menos masa.
So he's saying that
tiene menos peso.
That even playing you feel that the red cedar top is a bit more elastic and is softer, kind of softer than the spruce. That's true.
La cuerda tiene que mover menos cantidad de alguna manera de peso. Obviamente que el luthier lo completa con abanicos. ¿Qué quiero decir esto? Que es bastante usual que las guitarras de tapa de cedro tengan mayor cantidad de material en el abanico que las guitarras de tapa de abeto.
Mayor estructura.
Now he's saying that one thing which is also true, that most of the usually guitar with the red cedar top has much more weightier material or more material as far as fans under the top inside is concerned than the spruce, right?
Estructura para compensar que esta rigidez
to compensate that for that stiffness.
Muy acá vamos a ver una tapa extrema. Esto no es de una guitarra española habitual, pero sí sirve para darse cuenta el nivel de flexión que puede tener una tapa. Esto está trabajado fino, está en 7 veces.
This is the flexibility of a top, of that top.
Impresionante.
¿Sí? Y en este sentido también, pero hay así un ruidito de quiebre. Claro. En este sentido sí tiene flexión, pero en este es muchísimo mayor. Si quiero hacer esto, la quiebro.
Claro.
Ahora, en una guitarra convencional
no flexiona tanto. Lo tratan de hacer con un material como este. Este ya está estructurado en abanico, la tapa que tenés ahí pero sí hay la flexión, incluso con el abanico y todo.
Claro, pero a lo que iba, que cómo juega esa flexión en base a cómo después ponemos lo que es el espinetado, la posición del espinetado.
Bueno, el debate está entre...
And now here he says something very interesting, that is about the fact that the bars, the harmonic bars themselves, will mark definitively, will have something to say to harmonize along with the flexibility of the top, and of course that's why the masterpiece in AG it was to decide that the material, which material will be optimum material in a guitar to get a bridge which is harmonious with all those aspects, right? Like in this case the maple or the Aya bridge, right? So this is all a whole mathematical equation, but measurements are not so important in conclusion as it is important to understand that there is some randomity here. There is when you make a guitar, you don't know how it will come, but there are many factors which have to be regarded. Okay, we'll continue next chapter.
Me ayudó porque descubrí ahí la improvisación. La improvisación es algo que yo pienso que cada músico del estilo que sea, del clásico, del flamenco, de cualquier otra música debería aprender, porque en la improvisación te da mucha libertad y a la vez te da mucho conocimiento de dónde estás tocando, de cómo estás tocando, de qué armonías están en cada momento, ¿no?
Muy bien. Pablo. Sí, Paco, ¿qué es para usted la música popular y qué es la música elitista?
Yo creo que la música elitista es el refinamiento de la música popular. Por ejemplo, el flamenco. El flamenco originalmente es una música popular, la música del pueblo de Andalucía. Pero creo que ya no le pertenece más al pueblo, porque de pronto habemos gente que nos hemos pasado toda una vida encerrados, puliendo esa expresión popular. Entonces ha llegado a un nivel en el que el pueblo ya no tiene acceso, sobre todo a los matices que vamos consiguiendo la gente como yo, que nos pasamos muchas horas elaborando esa música.